Perfect. So this begins the pre-meeting for the City Planning Commission hearing on Monday, February 8th. During the pre-meeting, staff and Planning Commission members review cases. There is no participation by the applicants or the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard, applicants will present, and public comments submitted after staff reports were compiled will be read into the record. After the conclusion of the hearing, deliberations will follow. The Planning Commission will take action on cases that were heard at the public hearing. There is no participation by applicants or the public. Thanks for joining us. So the first item we have on our list is case 1, which is a request to establish a specially permitted use. This is what they're looking for, is to establish a public recreation center in an open space district. 2 letters in opposition were included in your staff report, and then 1 in support was sent afterwards. I will be reading that support letter into the record tonight. Skimming through the opposition letters, it looks like there's some question about any changes to the building site. A couple people were concerned about noise, and then some more programmatic questions like the schedule, the children, awareness of the wildlife, considering its proximity to the park. That being said, the applicant did give me a heads up that they're actually going to be requesting all of you at the hearing to hold the item again. Looks like their project is getting delayed perhaps, so where they're currently at it's not going to get, they're not going to need the relocation. I'll let them say it from their own words because they obviously know the details. So what that means for you is that we won't be doing the seeker at the pre-meeting. So we'll be listening to their request to hold the item and then reviewing it again when they're ready.
So if we hold, do we have to hear it again if they withdraw?
Yeah, they're not withdrawing. They're just requesting for a hold. So you will be getting the staff report for a 3rd time, including any changes. I don't know if their work scope is changing as part of this delay, and we will be advertising again. So yeah, you'll be reading it for a 3rd time around. I'll move on to case number 2. So here we're looking to establish 2 special permit uses and to legalize some pre-existing parking. The 2 special permits is a restaurant of this size in the overlay boutique district and outdoor seating for the accessory to the restaurant, as well as kind of reviewing some of the parking lot issues. So there were 6 letters that were included in your packets. And then we received an additional one where the commenter had commented the first time around. You have that in your packet, but they asked that you redact that or rescind it and replace it with a new one to supersede it. So I have that new one. I'll be reading it into the record. And then outside of that, there were 2 additional ones that were sent to you and posted online that I'll be reading into the record as well. Speaking of which, I'm going to pull up, or I'm going to review, I wanted to touch base on one of the comments in one of the letters that you received. This one is from John Lembach. He talks about, he cites a code section where it talks about a maximum size for a building. I just wanted to put some clarification on that. That requirement is for permitted uses only, and the applicants are coming to you for a special permit use. So the code section that he's citing does not actually apply in this case, because that's why it's coming to you, is because it's greater than the normal size. And that's why we need your review in consideration of all the standards. So that brings us to a total of 5 letters in opposition and 3 in support. And then I'll be reading the 3 new ones at the hearing. And we have 2 people that have signed up to speak on this project. Among the concerns, we heard a lot about garbage and noise and parking. And then of some of the support, we heard about beneficial to the neighborhood and city in terms of its growth, and then some how it coincides to the purpose statement of the OB, specifically being situated on commercial corridor and adaptive reuse of a pre-existing historic structure and reuse of underutilized parking, underutilized building. But I'll let the comments speak for themselves when we read them. Do you guys have any questions on this one?
I don't.
I have a couple. With the overlay boutique district, are there parking requirements at all, or is it?
So the parking requirement for OB is that they're not required on site. So we can, because it's more of like a boutique shopping experience or kind of that nature, it can be supplied elsewhere on site. So the applicant has talked about alternatives of where they would be supplied. I think one of the letters said that the 2 parking spaces that they were citing 2 on-street spaces in front of the building, and the opposition letter said that those are actually no parking. As you guys know, it just has to be within 1,000 feet of the building. So as long as there's at least 2 spaces within 1,000 feet of the building, then we can credit those on street.
Okay, and I guess second question, with the outdoor seating, it appears that they have the 2 tables out front on the first floor, and then 6 upstairs on the patio or on the porch.
So that's what you are seeing here. I will put the caveat on this that if this receives your approval and the zoning board's approval, their next approval is building code review to get their actual building permit. And that will be subject to the building code requirements, number of restrooms, things of that nature. So I do know that the applicant has had preliminary discussion with the fire department and the building code requirements. So they're not shocked when, they've been told that they need firewalls or things can't vent onto an adjacent property or something like that.
Okay.
So what you're seeing is an informed applicant, but it hasn't gone through that building code process yet.
Okay, yeah, so basically it's what they would like to do, but that may change.
It's subject to building code review.
Okay, all right.
So this would be like the maximum they could get? If there's not something in the building code or forbidding them?
This is what they want. This is their ask. And it's my understanding that this has gone through at least one preliminary discussion with building code, specifically some other requirements as to where the exhaust vents out to, and making sure that they have proper egress, like the stairs are covered. I think in the early designs, there was a spiral staircase, but the fire department kind of nixed that. So this is their ask. It's kind of an informed ask, but it is subject to like a full-fledged building code review.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Moving on, the next one is to establish a special permit use. In this case, it is an ancillary parking lot, and it will require a few waivers for you to consider. We did receive one letter in opposition, more so less than opposition, but just some questions. I feel like some of the questions might be more under the purview of the applicant, but things that would maybe be of interest to you would be signage and potentially gating or restricting access. We'll move on. The next one is to establish a special permit use. This is a residential care facility. There's currently one presently on site, owned and operated by the same applicant, but what they want to do is demolish it and then build this new one. By virtue of doing that, they're putting in a new use, so you guys have to review it. There is parking associated with it, but they designed a perfectly code compliant parking lot. So you won't have to be reviewing or waiving anything. The only thing, and the manager of zoning has approved like the number of spaces for that one. So you really get to kind of just spend time with the use more than anything. And the last one is another residential care facility. It is also kind of straightforward. We have 2 letters in opposition that were included with the application or your staff report, and then 2 subsequent support letters were received and then later forwarded to you. But I'll leave it up to you guys if you have any questions. Okay. Do you guys want to take a break and then reconvene at 6?
Yep, I think that's good.
Okay.
Okay,
So we'll see everybody at 6.
okay.
See you then.
Thank you, Anna.